The clip was only 15 seconds. Grainy, vertical, shot through a cracked window pane. But it was enough. I watched it in silence, thumb hovering over pause. My wife, Melissa, was sitting at a table in someone's backyard, red wine in hand, her laugh too wide, too rehearsed. And across from her, half in shadow, was a man I'd never seen before. Not her co-workers. Not any family. Certainly not me. They leaned in. His hand brushed hers. She didn't pull away. I was in my car when I saw it, parked outside the hardware store on East Pine. A text came in from my stepsister, Chloe. No caption, just the video. I played it 3 times. Then once more with the volume up. I could hear Melissa say something about missing last weekend and sneaking away again. That's when he smiled and pulled her hand toward him. The video cut off just before their lips touched. I remember the stillness. The way everything went quiet inside my chest. Chloe didn't follow up. She didn't have to. I called her 20 minutes later. She picked up like she'd been waiting. I didn't know if I should send it, she said, voice low. Where was this? She hesitated. My friend Cassidy's house. Birthday thing. I didn't know Melissa would be there. She said she was out with coworkers. Guess not. I said nothing. Chloe added, I didn't want to be the one. You did the right thing, I said. That night, I didn't confront Melissa. I didn't say a word. I got home, poured a drink, and listened to her tell me about some fake team dinner. I nodded. I smiled. I even kissed her goodnight. But something shifted. Something final. Chloe was my dad's daughter from his second marriage. We never lived together, but we stayed close. She was always sharper than people expected, could read a room in 10 seconds. And she never liked Melissa. Not since day one. Said her smile didn't reach her eyes. Now I knew why. The next morning, I found Melissa's phone unlocked on the kitchen island. She was in the shower. I didn't dig far, I didn't need to. There was a message thread named M, with a single black heart next to it. The last message was from 2 hours ago. M. Next time, no bra. I couldn't stop thinking about that bounce. I set the phone down, walked to the window, and decided this wouldn't end with shouting. This wouldn't end with me begging for answers or closure. I'd play the long game. But not alone. Because Chloe had already said it. You deserve better. And then, quiet, after a long pause. Let me prove it to you. The next time Chloe came over, it was a Wednesday. Rain was coming down hard, streaking the living room windows in slow, rhythmic trails. Melissa was at her yoga class, or so she claimed. I had stopped tracking her lies. They were too easy to spot now. Chloe didn't sit when she came in. She stood near the doorway, her coat dripping, arms crossed. She's still seeing him, she said flatly. I nodded. I know. She handed me a small, black flash drive. Cassidy had more footage. Backyard camera picked up the rest. Date, time, everything. Thought you'd want it. I took the drive but didn't look at it. Instead, I watched Chloe. Something had shifted in her since this started, more controlled. Calculated. Like she was aligning herself with me, step by step. You planning to do anything? She asked. Eventually. Want help? That made me pause. Chloe had always been protective. I remembered her getting into a fight in high school when someone made a joke about my last name. But this was different. Her tone didn't carry heat. It carried weight. I don't need a fight, I said. I'm not offering a fight. She tilted her head. I'm offering precision. That night, Melissa came home late. Hair damp, clothes too neat for yoga. I was sitting at the kitchen counter, sipping coffee. She kissed my cheek and made some excuse about running into traffic. I asked if she saw Marcy, her usual yoga partner. She blinked. Marcy? No, she wasn't there today. She texted me, I said deadpan. Said she was surprised you didn't show. Melissa's eyes flickered. Just a second too long. Then she smiled, that tight, rehearsed smile. Oh. I meant I didn't see her after. We didn't do class together. I went early. I didn't respond. I took a sip of coffee. Let the silence settle between us like dust. In the bedroom, she undressed facing away from me. I watched her reflection in the mirror, her shoulders tense, her posture forced. She was waiting for something. A crack. A question. I gave her nothing. Later I texted Chloe. She lied again. She replied. Then we keep going. The next day, I installed a hidden cam in Melissa's car. Chloe helped. She had a mechanic friend who owed her a favor. We kept everything clean. Minimal. Legal. By Saturday, I had video of Melissa picking up her mystery man from a parking garage and driving him to a hotel off the interstate. Same hotel, different room. I watched the footage 3 times. Then once more in silence. And for the first time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt clear. Chloe came by again that evening. She brought Thai food and 2 beers. We didn't say much. Just watched the rain again. When I asked her why she was helping, she didn't hesitate. Because you're the only one who's never lied to me, she said. And because she doesn't get to break you. Then she added, almost as an afterthought. Besides, you'll see. You and I? We were always more aligned than you and her. Melissa broke a glass Sunday morning. It wasn't the sound that caught me, it was her reaction. The cup slipped while she was rinsing dishes, hit the edge of the sink, and shattered. Sharp, clean break. But instead of surprise or annoyance, her face showed something else entirely, panic. She crouched down quickly, gathering shards with shaking hands. I walked over slowly, picked up the larger pieces, careful not to speak. You okay? I asked. She nodded too fast. Just clumsy. Was it one of the wedding set? I don't think so. It was. I knew it was. It had the etched trim, part of the monogrammed set from our registry. But I didn't correct her. I just handed her a paper towel for the blood forming on her palm. She winced when she took it. The next hour, she hovered, asking if I needed anything, checking the fridge, wiping non-existent dust from the shelves. Guilt was leaking through her every motion, and I let it spread. By the time she left for another, quick trip, to the store, I already had the tracker ready. It went under her bumper, a magnetic clip, small enough to be invisible without a full inspection. Chloe helped me test the signal strength the night before. Once it pinged, I checked the map. Melissa didn't go to any store. She drove east. 22 minutes. Then parked in a cul-de-sac I didn't recognize. I screen-recorded her route. Time-stamped. Then I waited. Later that night, she came back with 2 bags from Trader Joe's and a bouquet of lilies. For the kitchen, she said. Thought we could use some color. I took the flowers and placed them in the glass vase her sister had given us. She smiled, relieved. But I didn't say thank you. That night, Chloe texted me again. Chloe, you still want her to admit it? Me. No. I want her to keep lying. Chloe. Smart. Me. Why? Chloe. Because every lie she adds makes the truth hit harder. The next morning, I went through Melissa's purse while she showered. A single receipt. Gas station. 1 pack of gum, a Diet Coke, and protection. I left the receipt exactly where it was. Folded it the same way. Placed it back in the same zippered pouch. By evening, Melissa acted normal again. She made dinner, pasta, garlic bread, salad with cranberries. Her small talk returned, the jokes, the soft smile. She even leaned against me while I was on my laptop. Her hand rested on my shoulder. And in that moment, I realized she had rehearsed all of it. The affection, the guilt management, the illusion. She was protecting her lie the same way I was building its end. And Chloe? She was already working the next move. She texted me a list of names that morning, people Melissa worked with. One of them overlapped with the man in the video. I asked how she knew. She sent back a photo. Melissa, her boyfriend, and that coworker, all at the same bar. 2 months ago. They weren't being careful anymore. And I was done pretending. Wednesday morning, I found the strand on the passenger seat. Too light to be Melissa's, she's brunette. This one was blonde. Almost white blonde. Shorter than hers, too. I didn't touch it right away. Just stared. Let the weight of it settle. I'd taken Melissa's car out that morning, claiming mine was low on gas. She handed me the keys without hesitation. She even smiled. But the hair, that was different. That was lazy. Up until now, Melissa had been careful, timing her texts, hiding receipts, deleting call logs. But this? This was something else. I took a photo. Sent it to Chloe with no caption. She replied a minute later. That's not his wife's. I didn't ask how she knew. Instead, I reached under the seat and found 2 things, a crumpled gum wrapper and a bobby pin. The kind with tiny rhinestones on the edge. Not Melissa's style. I placed both items in a small Ziploc bag. Labeled it with the date. Filed it in the drawer next to the bed. The file was growing. That night, I checked the tracker again. Melissa had been driving to a house in a quiet suburb on the edge of town, same place as before. I ran the address through the property registry. It belonged to one of her coworkers, a woman named Alyssa Donnery. That name had shown up on Chloe's list, too. Alyssa wasn't the man in the video. But she was connected. Chloe had screenshots from social media, group photos, geotags, mutual comments. Alyssa had posted pictures from the same cabin getaway Melissa claimed was company training last fall. None of this was coincidence. I called Chloe. She answered on the first ring. She's meeting him at Alyssa's house, I said. She's using her as cover. I need to get inside. Chloe didn't even pause. I'll set it up. What? You'll see. The next afternoon, Chloe dropped by Alyssa's office, casual, clean. She was posing as a freelance marketing rep offering promotional services. Her story was airtight. She asked about the property, how nice it looked from the outside. She said she was scouting locations for a photo shoot. Alyssa took the bait. Invited her to stop by that weekend for a tour. By Saturday, I had interior photos of the house, a rough layout, and the times Alyssa would be gone for her spin class. That was when Chloe said something that made me pause. She's not just cheating on you, she said. She's mocking you. How? Every time she walks in your door, she's telling herself you're too blind to see it. I didn't answer. I was already thinking of the camera I'd plant in the living room vent. I waited until Tuesday. Alyssa's place sat 2 streets off a cul-de-sac, same rows of beige siding and white trim as every other house on that block. Chloe timed it down to the minute. Alyssa left for her class at 6:03 p.m. Melissa pulled up at 6:16. I arrived at 6:29. Gloves on. Bag in hand. Door already unlocked, courtesy of Chloe's earlier, accidental, key drop-off during her fake consultation. I moved fast. Living room. Floor vent by the bookshelf. Standard screws. I'd practiced the placement. The camera was no larger than a quarter, disguised inside a broken outlet cover with a micro SD chip and mobile sync. 15 minutes tops. No sign of entry left behind. By the time Melissa and her boyfriend walked through the door the next day, I was watching it all from my laptop. They didn't even hesitate. She kissed him before the door closed. Same hand on his chest. Same angle as the backyard clip. It was mechanical now. Worn in. He asked if her husband suspected anything. She laughed. Laughed. No. He's still playing doctor. Always tired. I could come home at midnight wearing perfume and he wouldn't notice. The way she said it, like I was a ghost. A placeholder. Nothing more than background noise to her new life. Chloe watched the footage with me in silence. After Melissa disappeared into the hallway, likely the bedroom, Chloe spoke. She's using him. You see that, right? I nodded. He thinks he's getting away with something. But she's managing him too. I replayed the clip. Zoomed in on the moment Melissa took off her jacket, the same one I bought her last Christmas. She tossed it onto the couch like it meant nothing. I saved the footage to a separate drive. Added it to the evidence catalog. Later that night, Melissa came home with takeout. Tie again. She acted tired, like the day had drained her. She kissed me, mentioned something about traffic, then asked if I wanted to watch a movie. I said sure. Halfway through the film, she leaned into me, head on my chest. You've been quiet lately, she said. Everything okay? I kept my eyes on the screen. Yeah. Just work stuff. She nodded like she understood. But she didn't. Not even close. At midnight, she turned off the bedroom light and reached for me. I turned slightly, pretending to be asleep. She didn't try again. The next morning, Chloe texted me 3 words. You ready yet? I replied. Not yet. But close. Because revenge isn't just about truth. It's about timing. And I wanted her to feel it when it hit. Friday morning, Melissa left early. She claimed it was for a breakfast meeting, said she'd probably be back late. With that same soft light tucked between sips of coffee. I nodded, walked her to the door, and kissed her forehead like I always did. But as soon as she left, I walked straight into the bathroom. The towel was missing. Not just any towel, his towel. 2 weeks earlier, after one of her late returns, I'd noticed a faint cologne smell in the bathroom. Not mine. Spicier, synthetic, cheap. That night, she had showered, and the next morning, a blue striped towel I never used had a single, curled blonde hair stuck in the threads. I didn't move it then. I waited. Now it was gone. I opened the hamper. Not there. Trash bin? Empty. She'd gotten smarter. She was scrubbing the crime scene now. I checked the tracker again. She'd gone west, toward a different location this time. Not Alyssa's. Some warehouse loft conversion near the old textile district. I recognized the address from Chloe's earlier research. She'd listed it as alt site unconfirmed. I called her. She's switched venues, I said. I'll run the name, Chloe replied. 15 minutes later, she sent me a screenshot, a co-working space leased to a shell company. That same company had billed Melissa's firm for a consulting fee last quarter. That's how they were hiding it. Melissa was expensing her affair. I watched the blue dot blink on the tracker screen. Parked. Stationary. 1 hour. 2. By noon, Chloe sent a new video. Security footage from a building across the street. Different angle. Melissa exiting the building with her lover. Both dressed clean. No eye contact. Like spies. She kissed him at the end of the block. Then got in her car and drove. That night, she brought home sushi and a new candle. Felt like we needed a mood change, she said. She lit it in the living room, soft scent, vanilla and smoke. She curled up next to me, said she missed these nights. That we should plan a trip soon. I let her talk. Let her dig deeper. Because the more she built this fantasy, the harder it would collapse. I sent Chloe a message as Melissa brushed her teeth. Me. She's nesting again. Chloe. She feels safe. Me. Good. Chloe. You ready to hit her? Me. No. I want him first. There was a pause. Then Chloe replied. Then let's isolate him. We didn't need much. One mistake. That's all we were looking for. And we found it in the least secure place imaginable, her email. Melissa used the same laptop for work and home. She kept it in the study, password protected, but lazy with the screen timeout. Chloe distracted her during dinner the next night, while I slipped in. 30 seconds. Quick hands. She used the same password for her Spotify. I'd known that for years. We were in. Chloe and I combed through her inbox remotely the next day, routing it through a cloned login. Silent. Undetectable. The messages were exactly what we expected: personal emails buried under work correspondence, receipts for lunch meetings that never happened, Uber trips with no return ride, automated texts for cash withdrawals from our shared account. But the gold came in her drafts. She was careful not to send certain things, but not careful enough to delete them. One draft stood out. Subject: if he ever finds out. The rest was blank. Empty body. But the date and time told the story. It was created the day after I asked her, half joking, if I could take her to lunch at work. Her hands had trembled when she said no. Now I knew why. Chloe and I traced the other messages, pulled down her calendar invites. Her meetings were booked in blocks, tagged with initials. One name kept repeating: J. Fenner. That wasn't the man from the videos. This was someone else. We checked the metadata on a few attachments. One Word doc had editing tags from a Joshua Fenner, timestamped last month, a loan application form with a $50,000 request attached. Melissa had signed off on it. And 2 weeks later, she received a wire transfer to her personal account. We pulled the statement from her email alerts. The transfer memo read: return favor. Hardsuit J. I didn't need to guess anymore. She was being bought. She wasn't just cheating with one man, she was running a second connection, quietly funding something on the side. Quiet leverage. Backup. Chloe leaned over the laptop, jaw tight. She's setting up for exit. I nodded. She's moving money. She's testing how far she can stretch before you notice. And then Chloe asked me something I wasn't ready for. You still want her? I looked at the screen, Melissa's fake calendar, the account transfers, the heart emoji. No, I said. Chloe's voice dropped. Then let me help you crush her. The Hilton downtown kept paper copies. That's what saved me. Chloe's friend worked front desk part-time, a temp job while finishing grad school. I'd asked Chloe if she could access the guest logs for the last 90 days. She didn't ask why. She just said, give me 2 days. It took 1. She sent me a photo, grainy, scanned from a physical ledger. A name stood out in crisp black ink, under room 1204. Melissa Crane, guest of Kane Atchison. Different man. Not Joshua. Not the co-working guy. Kane was local. Married. Kids. Ran a property company out of Albany. Chloe had gone to school with his wife. Melissa wasn't just rotating lovers, she was building a network. Each man served a role. Kane had resources. Joshua had money. The other guy? Entertainment. A fallback. 3 fronts. Same war. And I was the silence behind the curtain. I didn't get angry. I copied the ledger entry, scanned it, filed it in the same folder as the footage, the receipts, and the fake meeting invites. The name, Kane Atchison, unlocked everything. He'd made payments to Melissa's Venmo account 6 times. Small amounts. $90 here. $140 there. Tagged with vague things. Consult, lunch, thanks M. But he slipped once. One transfer, from a business account linked to his company, said this: room fee split. I had the date. It matched the Hilton ledger. I printed it all. Stapled the proof to the back of the hotel log copy. That night, I laid everything out on the dining table. Chloe came over with takeout again. She didn't touch the food. She looked at the evidence and said, she's not going to admit. People like her don't confess. They redirect. I know, I said. So what now? We isolate Kane. How? I turned the page. The Venmo ID had a business handle attached. Public facing. I'm going to book him. Chloe raised a brow. For landscaping? No. For a seminar. She smiled, the kind of smile that belongs to people who don't flinch. You're not just going to expose her, are you? No, I said. I'm going to make her irrelevant. Kane hosted monthly networking seminars. Low-key, invitation only. Half business, half vanity. Local property owners, contractors, loan officers. Chloe's intel said Melissa had been to 2 under fake pretenses, once as a logistics consultant, another time as a community rep. We found the upcoming one on his company's private event page. Saturday, April 15th, 3 p.m., venue, Briarfield Atrium. I registered under a pseudonym. Chloe helped me set up a shell consulting brand, website, logo, even LinkedIn. All clean, all forgettable. We paid the fee. Received the pass. I had everything I needed. The night before the event, Melissa came home with a tan line she didn't have the day before. Slight. But clear. A strap line, too narrow to be from work attire. She mentioned traffic. Said she might spend Saturday visiting her mother. She's been lonely lately, she said, eyes searching mine. I smiled. You should go. It'll mean a lot to her. She kissed me and called me sweet. At 2:30 p.m. the next day, I walked into the Briarfield Atrium dressed in business casual, clipboard in hand. Nobody looked twice. Kane was already working the room. I recognized him from the footage, tall, forced grin, handshake too firm. He introduced himself as founder and managing partner of his firm. His wife wasn't there. Neither was Melissa, not yet. I kept my distance, listening to the pitch. Smart property moves, hedge-proofing your income, relationship-based growth. I watched him sip from a tumbler of whiskey as he chatted with a woman half his age about real estate exposure. At 3:52 p.m., Melissa arrived. Not dressed for business. She wore a black top with a side slit and heels she hadn't worn in a year. She didn't see me. She moved toward Kane with precision, like this was rehearsed. He smiled too easily. Touched her elbow. Whispered something. She laughed and looked down. I pulled out my phone and started recording. It wasn't just the proximity, it was the body language. The familiarity. The comfort. Her hand on his lapel. His finger tracing a line down her wrist when they thought no one was watching. Chloe stood across the room, dressed like staff. She held a tray of drinks, snapping stills with a hidden cam in her name tag. At 4:07 p.m., I made my move. I walked up behind Kane, handed him a manila envelope. This is for you, I said. He blinked. Do I know you? You do now. He opened it. Inside, photos, financial logs, hotel register, screenshots of texts. All time-stamped. All cross-referenced. I turned to Melissa. You left your towel in his car. She froze. Not a word. Not a twitch. People started turning toward us. One woman near the refreshments whispered something. Kane looked around, color draining from his face. Melissa stepped back. You don't want to do this here, she said. This is the only place that matters, I replied. I turned and walked out. The silence behind me was louder than any scream. Melissa didn't come home that night. She didn't call either. No text. No apology. The silence wasn't an oversight, it was a strategy. Her pause was tactical, a moment to assess damage, calculate risk, restructure her story. I didn't reach out. I slept fine. At 9:12 a.m. my phone buzzed. A text. Melissa. We need to talk. Please. I left it unread. At 10:43 another. Melissa. It's not what it looked like. You're making this worse than it is. Still unread. By noon, Chloe had already looped in her friend at the bank. Melissa's name had come up, quiet office chatter, whispers about inappropriate conduct, conflicts of interest. Kane's firm had a joint project with Melissa's branch. She hadn't disclosed their personal connection. Now that was surfacing. At 3 p.m., I went to our shared credit account. She tried to log in. Twice. I changed the password again. Then I froze the account. At 4:17 p.m., she called. I let it ring out. She left a voicemail. Her voice cracked near the end, but not from emotion, from panic. I forwarded the message to Chloe. she replied with a single line. She's in freefall. Hold position. At 6:22 p.m., Melissa showed up at the apartment. Knocked twice. Didn't use her key. I didn't answer. She sat outside the door for 12 minutes. I watched through the peephole. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She waited. Still trying to look composed. Still trying to sell the illusion of control. Eventually she left. An hour later Chloe arrived. She had a USB drive. It's from Cassidy, she said. She had more videos. Turns out Kane's not even the only married man. She plugged the drive into my laptop. Footage loaded. Different man. Different location. Melissa again. Different lie. It wasn't even Kane. It was Joshua. A hotel bar. Hands over hers. Her saying, "You know I can't stay long. He's still awake when I get home." I copied the files, added them to the archive. Chloe didn't speak for a long time. Then finally she asked, "You still want to confront her directly?" "No," I said. "She needs to be cornered. And Kane? He'll fold on his own. She'll blame him first." Chloe nodded. And then she said it again. "You deserve better." But this time, she didn't offer to prove it. She let the weight of it settle in the room. Monday morning, I sent the envelope. It went priority mail, signature required, straight to the HR department of Melissa's firm. Inside, selected footage, screenshots, financial overlaps, the Venmo memo that read, "Room fee split." A clean, curated package. No anger. Just facts. I sent a second copy to Kane's wife. No return address. By noon, the message had landed. Chloe was watching from the other side. Her contact at the bank confirmed a meeting was called before lunch. Melissa's name was on the whiteboard. Words used in the room included violation review and pending inquiry. Kane didn't respond to emails or calls from his team that day. By 2:15 p.m., Melissa finally texted again. "Melissa, you sent it." I didn't answer. At 3:01 p.m., she followed up. "Melissa, please. We can fix this. Don't destroy everything." I turned off my phone. That evening, she came back to the apartment. Let herself in this time, key still worked. She moved like someone breaking into her own life. "I made mistakes," she said, standing in the doorway. "I got overwhelmed. Things spiraled. I didn't speak." She sat down on the couch, across from me, hands clasped like she was waiting for trial. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "You meant not to get caught," I replied. She flinched. "I was lonely. You were always gone. You stopped." I held up a hand. "Don't." She fell quiet. "I know about Joshua. I know about Kane. I know about the seminar, the money, the hotel rooms. I know about the fake calendar invites. The towel. The hair." Silence. "I was going to come clean," she whispered. "No. You were going to keep going until you ran out of space to lie." She looked around the apartment like it had shifted since she entered. Like the walls were listening now. "I don't want to lose everything," she said, voice cracking for real this time. "You already did." She wiped a tear. "Not for me, for herself." "I still love you," she said. "No," I said. "You love control." She reached across the table, slow, deliberate. Like maybe there was still something left to hold on to. That's when Chloe stepped into the room. She'd been in the hallway, listening. Melissa's eyes widened. "You brought her here?" I stood up. "She's been here the whole time." Melissa looked between us. She finally saw it. The quiet coordination. The slow, invisible dismantling of her fiction. "You were never alone," I said. "You just stopped noticing who was watching." Tuesday morning, Melissa was called into HR. Chloe's friend at the bank confirmed the meeting was already on the calendar before Melissa even walked in. She was met by two people, her direct supervisor and a compliance officer. The folder was already on the table. Inside, copies of the hotel register, flag transfers, a breakdown of conflicts of interest tied to Cain Atchison and Joshua Fenner. A neat, structured timeline. Melissa tried to speak. They told her to sit. By noon, she'd been placed on indefinite leave pending an investigation. I didn't gloat. I didn't call. I let her spiral in silence. At 3:42 p.m., Cain's wife made her move. Chloe had prepped the delivery, a package with printouts, screenshots, the full dossier. Photos of Cain and Melissa at the Atrium event. Footage from Melissa's house. Side-by-sides with timestamps and Melissa's car in the background. Cain's wife didn't text him. She showed up at his office, envelope in hand, and left it on the desk in front of his entire team. She didn't raise her voice. She just said, "Ask him who she is." Cain took personal leave the same afternoon. Company email signature changed by 6 p.m. Chloe forwarded the memo. Melissa called me twice that night. I didn't answer. She arrived home at 7:19 p.m., looking like she hadn't slept. No makeup. Keys shaking in her hand. Her bag hit the floor before the door even closed. "I lost everything," she said. I didn't move. She stepped closer. "They put me on review. Cain's gone. Joshua's ghosted me. I don't even know what you told them." "I didn't have to lie," I said. "You did enough damage all by yourself." She stood there, hollowed out, eyes darting around the room like she was trying to find a crack to crawl into. Then Chloe stepped out from the bedroom. Melissa blinked. "You're still here?" Chloe's voice was calm. "Longer than you think." Melissa turned to me. "You and her, what? This is a game to you." I looked at her the way someone might look at a ruined painting, something once beautiful, now meaningless. "It's not a game," I said. "It's closure." Melissa stepped back, her breath shallow. "This isn't you. You don't do revenge. You're quiet," I said. "Tired? Easy to lie to?" She had no reply. I walked past her to the door and held it open. "You won't be staying here." "I live here." "Not anymore." She hesitated, then laughed, brittle and low. "And what, you're with her now?" I didn't answer. Because some truths don't need confirmation. Only silence. She left without another word. Melissa didn't check into a hotel. We knew because Chloe tracked her phone through the emergency location share that Melissa forgot to disable. She went to her sister's house instead, the same sister who once said I was too bland for Melissa at our engagement dinner. Fitting. By Thursday, word had spread. Her office was conducting a full ethics audit. Her calendar access was revoked. Coworkers stopped responding to her messages. Cain's company posted a vague PR note about temporary leadership restructuring. Joshua deleted his Instagram and locked his LinkedIn. Melissa had been scrubbed from all three of their lives. Chloe and I sat in the kitchen that night, sorting through the final pieces. "Her sister's already defending her," Chloe said. "Posted something passive about betrayal going both ways." "She's repositioning," I said. "Framing it." Chloe smirked. "She doesn't know we have timestamps." We had everything. The videos. The receipts. The messages. Her attempt to rewrite the story wouldn't land. At 10:16 p.m., Melissa texted, "You think this makes you better than me?" I didn't respond. 2 minutes later, "You really think she loves you?" Still nothing. Then, at 10:27, she told me, "Chloe. She said she's loved you since college. You're just her second choice now." I turned the phone toward Chloe. She read it. Blinked once. "Accurate," she said. I stared at her. "You what?" Chloe didn't flinch. "I said it. Months ago." She asked me why I hated her. I told her the truth. "And now?" "I still do." Silence settled between us. Chloe stood, walked over to the table, and set down a new envelope. "What's this?" The lease transfer, she said. Her name's off. You're clean. Utilities too. I opened it. Every detail handled. No trace of Melissa left. You're free, Chloe said. And you? She looked at me steady. I don't need a label. I need to know you're done looking over your shoulder. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Because in that moment, everything Melissa had built, the stories, the cover-ups, the rehearsed charm, was dust. And the woman she tried to discredit? Was the one who just dismantled her life. By Friday, the last thread snapped. Melissa's login credentials were revoked. Her LinkedIn marked her as seeking new opportunities, a polite mask for public collapse. The firm didn't release a statement. They never do in cases like this. Quiet damage control, internal memos, off-the-record departures. Kane's wife filed for separation. Joshua's account was flagged for financial irregularities. Neither of them contacted Melissa again. She was radioactive now. The apartment lease was under my name only. Mail forwarding had been redirected. Bank accounts separated, access codes changed, her number blocked. Chloe handled the logistics while I watched Melissa unravel from a distance. On Sunday, Melissa showed up one last time. Not at the apartment, at the hospital. She waited near the ER parking garage, hoping I'd be there. I wasn't. One of the nurses spotted her pacing by the elevators, phone in hand, holding a folder. She asked to see me? The nurse said I wasn't on shift. Melissa left the folder behind. Security brought it to me Monday morning. Inside, printed photos, a typed letter, old receipts, some handwritten apology that tried to sound sincere without admitting anything real. I didn't read it. I handed the folder to HR. Let them file it, burn it, toss it. It wasn't for me. The next time Chloe came by, she didn't ask what was in it. She just took off her jacket, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and handed me her phone. Scroll down, she said. It was Melissa's sister's latest post. A photo of the two of them, stiff smiles, a wine glass each, captioned, "New beginnings. Family first." I handed the phone back. She'll pivot. She always does. She won't land this time, Chloe said. How can you be sure? Chloe leaned forward, eyes steady. Because she lost the only person who never lied to her. I didn't reply. We sat there a while, not saying much. Not needing to. The weight of it wasn't grief. It wasn't even satisfaction. It was release. Clean. Total. Silent. Melissa hadn't just been removed from my life. She'd been erased. 3 weeks later, I filed for divorce. No conversation. No warnings. My lawyer served the papers to Melissa's sister's address. Melissa didn't contest, couldn't. The terms were simple. No assets shared, no debts owed, no property to divide. We had no children. Nothing tethered us now. She signed. The notary stamp was crooked. Final. The last thing she sent was a typed email. 6 lines long. No subject. She wrote that she hoped I'd heal. That people aren't perfect. And that we both played a role. I didn't respond. I archived it, then deleted it. Gone. I left Albany 2 months later. Took a new job in a smaller hospital upstate. Quieter pace, tighter team, less noise. The air's cleaner there. The night's slower. I sleep better. Chloe stayed behind. She didn't follow me. That was never the point. She visited once, brought a bottle of wine, helped unpack a few boxes, didn't stay the night. As she left, she paused in the doorway. You good now? She asked. I nodded. You? She shrugged. Getting there. Then she smiled, real this time. Soft around the eyes. And she left. I haven't seen Melissa since the HR ambush. Her social accounts went dark. Mutual friends stopped mentioning her. She became a name that doesn't get brought up in conversation, not out of pain, but out of disinterest. A ghost without tragedy. Sometimes I still think about the little things. The monogrammed towel. The scent in the hallway. The broken glass. All the warnings I ignored. But I don't miss her. Not even the version I married. Because that man, the one who stood beside her, who trusted her, who believed, he's gone too. Replaced. What Chloe gave me wasn't a rebound, or revenge, or even rescue. It was clarity. A mirror held up just long enough for me to see what was real. I don't love her. Not in the way people expect. Not yet. But if love ever comes again, it'll look like what Chloe gave me. Not noise. Not chaos. Not lies. Just silence. And the kind of loyalty that doesn't ask for anything in return.